Ryan Carter was the guy that everyone noticed in college. I hadn't seen him in over 12 years. He was always effortlessly cool, and it seemed like everyone was drawn to him. He wasn't just popular, he was magnetic. His professors liked him, his classmates loved him, and I was one of many people who quietly respected him. My name's Emily Thompson. I was the quiet one. I spent more time in the library than at parties. My sketchbook was my best friend, and my circle of friends was small but loyal. I wasn't invisible exactly, but I certainly wasn't someone like Ryan would notice. At least that's what I thought back then. I crushed hard. I memorized his laugh, the way he pushed his hair back, when he was thinking how he always held the door open for everyone, but I never dared to tell him. It felt safer to keep the fantasy tucked away, untouched. By reality, college came and went. Life moved on. I graduated, found work as an interior designer, moved to Chicago, and tried to forget about the what-ifs. And could have been every now and then Ryan would pop into my mind like an old song that randomly starts playing in your head. But I never expected to see him again until I got the invitation. Our university was hosting a 10-year alumni gala. At first, I tossed the envelope on my kitchen counter and ignored it for weeks. What was the point? I hadn't kept in touch with most people, and I wasn't exactly dying to relive the past. But something kept pulling me back to that invitation. Maybe curiosity, maybe hope I finally RSVP on a whim. The night of the gala was colder than I expected. I wore a navy blue dress that hugged my figure in a way I wouldn't have dared to wear back in college. My hair was curled. As I walked into the grand hall, filled with fairy lights and familiar faces, my makeup was light, but I felt sure of myself. I was nervous and excited at the same time. It didn't take long for me to recognize some people. Some had changed, some hadn't. There were warm hugs, surprised greets, and the occasional awkward small talk. I saw him while talking to an old friend. Ryan Carter stood across the room in a sharp charcoal suit. His hair was cut a little shorter, and he had a light scruff on his jaw. He looked older, wiser, and still beautiful. My heart skipped a beat, and I stood still for a second. He looked around, then met my eyes and smiled. At first, I thought he was smiling at someone behind me, but then he turned around and started walking toward me, and my breath stopped. "Emily," he said, his voice sounding as warm and familiar as I remembered. "Ryan, it's been a long time." He said, "Too long I almost didn't recognize you. You look amazing." That got us talking, and it didn't seem like any time had passed. We talked about our favorite professors, the time the power went out during finals week, and our favorite coffee shop on campus. The conversation flowed easily, and somewhere between the stories and the laughter, I realized he wasn't just being polite. He remembered little things about me. I wasn't expecting anyone to remember asking about my art, career, and family, and he also told parts of his own story. He moved to Denver after college, worked in marketing, got married, and then divorced 2 years ago. "It just didn't work out," he said with a shrug. "We grew apart, no drama, just different paths." I liked how honest he was. He had a calm maturity that I hadn't seen in him in college. As the night went on, I noticed that people were leaving in groups. Ryan glanced at his watch, then back at me. "Hey," he said, "I was about to grab some air outside. Want to join me?" We stepped out into the cool night. The streetlights cast a golden glow over the sidewalk. It was quiet, peaceful for a moment. We just stood there, not saying anything. Then he looked at me, really looked, he said slowly, "I always wondered why we never hung out more back then. I mean, we had classes together. You were always intriguing to me. I blinked, really." He chuckled. "Yeah, I guess I was just caught up in everything else too. Dumb to pay attention to what really mattered. That's when it happened. I didn't plan it, I didn't think it through, but I stepped closer, heart pounding, and I kissed him. It wasn't wild or dramatic. It was soft, intentional, honest. When I pulled back, I felt a wave of emotion crash over me. Fear, excitement, vulnerability. But Ryan just smiled. "I was hoping you'd do that." He reached for my hand, and we stood there under the street lamp. Fingers intertwined like two people who had finally found each other after years of missed chances. The next day, we went on our first date, which turned into many more. Our lives started to naturally overlap with each other's, without any pressure. It was slow but meaningful. I learned that he liked cooking, bad action movies, and marathons. He learned that I sang in the shower, cried during animal rescue videos, and hated pineapple on pizza. He supported my work, went to my gallery shows, and helped me build my dream studio. I encouraged him to start his own consulting firm, which he had been too afraid to do for years. As the months went by, we travelled, laughed, fought, made up, grew. And then one crisp fall morning, he brought me coffee in bed and sat next to me with a nervous smile. "I have a question for you," he said, pulling a small box out of his pocket. "Emily Thompson, will you marry me?" I started to cry before he even opened it. I said yes. I can't help but think about how different my life would have been if I hadn't gone to the alumni gala, if I hadn't taken a chance, if I hadn't kissed the guy I'd been crushing on for over a decade. It wasn't just about finally getting the guy, it was about letting go of fear and realizing that the past can bring you exactly what you need in the present. Yes, I kissed my college crush after 12 years, but it was the best day of my life when I married him.